Welcome to the Explainer. You know that sound that can just jolt you awake from a dead sleep? Drip, drip, drip. Well, that tiny leak, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the unseen damage that happens after a flood and break down the science-backed playbook the pros use to fight back. So, picture this. It's 2 in the morning. That dripping sound you hear isn't just annoying, it's actually the starting gun for a huge problem. See, water damage, it doesn't really care about your sleep schedule. And as you're about to find out, the clock is your absolute worst enemy here. You know, when water decides to attack, it doesn't bother knocking. It just kicks the door in. It could be a pipe that suddenly bursts or maybe a slow leak that's been hiding for weeks. The point is, it can come from almost anywhere, and it can turn your home into a total disaster zone in just minutes. And the threats? Well, they're pretty much all around us. Especially in a place like South Florida, you're kind of dealing with a triple threat. You've got older homes with aging plumbing, the constant threat of hurricane flooding, and AC units that can overflow when you least expect them to. It's really not a matter of if it'll happen, it's a matter of when.
Okay, so you might think once the standing water is gone, the worst is over, right? Well, that's a really dangerous mistake to make. The real enemy isn't that puddle you can see on the floor. It's the invisible moisture that's quietly seeping into the very bones of your house. And that's where the race against time really truly begins. The damage just escalates with terrifying speed. I mean, within minutes, your drywall is acting like a giant sponge, just soaking it all up. If you wait just 24 hours, you're not just fighting water anymore. Now you're fighting mold. And after just 2 days, that mold starts to colonize, and the actual structure of your house, the wood framing, can begin to warp and weaken.
And if you're in a humid climate like South Florida, this whole scary timeline gets put on fast forward. Think about it. The air is already like a saturated sponge. It can't hold any more moisture. So that means the wet materials in your home have nowhere to dry out. It just makes getting a professional response absolutely non-negotiable.
So, what's the very first thing a professional does? They don't just show up and start sucking up water. Nope. They start by identifying the enemy. Because in the restoration world, not all water is created equal. They have to figure out the source, to classify the contamination level, and that dictates the entire battle plan.
So it basically breaks down into 3 categories. You've got category 1, which is clean water. Think a broken supply line. It's a pain, but it's sanitary. Then there's category 2, or gray water. That's from something like a dishwasher overflow. It's definitely contaminated. But category 3, that's the real nightmare. Black water from sewage or a flood. It's just teeming with dangerous pathogens, and it requires a full-on, hazmat-level response.
And understanding these categories, that's step 1 in the professional playbook. Because when certified experts show up, they are not just winging it. They're executing a very precise science-based strategy to take your home back from the damage, both safely and completely.
The industry gold standard, which is set by an organization called the IICRC, follows 3 critical phases. First up, mitigation. You got to stop the source and get all the standing water out. Second, drying. This is where they use science to pull every last drop of that hidden moisture out. And finally, reconstruction, rebuilding anything that was damaged. It's a methodical process that guarantees a true recovery.
And to run this playbook, you need a very specialized toolkit. We're not talking about shop vacs and box fans from the hardware store. We're talking industrial-strength gear, massive dehumidifiers, high-powered air movers, and the real game changers, thermal imaging cameras and moisture meters. These are the tools that let them see the invisible enemy, that water that's trapped deep inside your walls and floors.
So, let's say you find yourself in this moment of crisis. How in the world do you sort the true experts from, the amateurs with just a van and a vacuum? What should you be looking for?
This checklist right here is your shield. For any company you call, you need to ask, are your technicians ICRC certified? Do you bill my insurance directly? Do you use thermal imaging? And are you fully licensed and insured? Trust me, these are the absolute non-negotiables that protect your home, your health, and your wallet.
This quote really just says it all. The real danger isn't the damage you can see. It's the moisture that gets left behind. That hidden dampness is basically a ticking time bomb. It leads to toxic mold and structural rot that can cost an absolute fortune to fix down the road. A cheap fix now almost always means a crazy expensive disaster later on. So, if there's one key takeaway, it's this. Real restoration isn't about looking dry, it's about being dry. It's about using science to prove, with actual data, that every single part of your home structure is back to a safe, pre-loss condition.
And that leads us to the final and most critical question that every single homeowner has to ask. A quick surface-level fix might look okay, but is your home truly restored? The difference is in the science, it's in the professional process, and it's in having that verifiable proof that the unseen damage is well and truly gone for good.